So how did this happen? Cole Porter.
Well, there is so much longing in Americana and roots music, sonically and melodically, and lyrically, of course. And whether it's like an old spiritual or Carter family song, the longings of the heart are always there. And I was so curious how this guy, this, slightly closeted gay guy from the mid 20th century, lived a privileged life and Yale and Paris, and he just mined that deep well of longing in such a beautiful way. It just touched me early on. So even though I was a folky girl, I fell in love with the musicals, and I fell in love with him. The melodies were so beautiful, and I'm, as a result, a melodies gal. This felt like a mission, it really did, to carry these intensely personal sort of depths of longing and matters of the heart into the out of the theatrical setting that Cole wrote for, and into the instrumentation that we call, you know, Americana. And that instrumentation is where I reside as a singer songwriter. So I always want every song I love to reside there. um, and I'm definitely just crying through every vocal I do because the songs are they're so painful and beautiful. It's just like a real, like the follicle of the heart, I mean, it's life. Well, it's my life. And I think that, and that's the job of the artist to articulate every version of longing in life, no matter where it's supposed to land.
You've gotten some world-class players to
Yeah.
participate. Some of them you haven't worked with before?
Yeah, I've been really, I gotta say, blessed this time around. I had a wish list, and some of them were old friends, and that I wanted for the duets, and some of them were these great Nashville players I'd always dreamed of working with. Um, but honestly, the pandemic really allowed them to participate because they would have been on the road. And so it started really in Brooklyn with the piano trio, and then other songs were generated from the guitar, and those really invited the more um, Americana and bluegrass settings. Like for "I've Got You Under My Skin," like I hadn't really planned to do the tune, but then that little move, which is my favorite little sharp four move, um, just became, for me, kind of represented the longing of the song. And because, the original, "I've got you under my skin," that's so the swing thing, um, that wasn't in the cards for this record. So when I found and then I found the this little figure, which doesn't sound much without the rest of the tune, for "Night and Day," for me and Keith Sewell to sing. That whole Americana vibe started to open up, and that opened the opportunity for like somebody like Sierra Hall, who's playing "I Just Revere" on mandolin, to participate. So these folks are such deep artists, and to have them uh, play on the tracks, just it uplifted everything, all my ideas. And of course, when you get Randy Brecker from the jazz side to say yes, then you've died and gone to heaven, right? um, and pandemic time, everybody played in their own homes and sent me the tracks, and then we talk on the phone. So the tremendous privilege, absolutely.
All right. When did you discover Cole's music?
Yeah, it was one song. was the gateway. True Love. Yeah, that was the window into the beauty of the songs. I was a little kid, and I used to watch all the old movie musicals alone on a little tiny TV in my bedroom, and that's how I fell in love with musical theater. The movie musicals were the gateway, and the movie was called High Society. Cole wrote the score. Sinatra was in it, actually, as a secondary part. But it was Bing Crosby and Grace Kelly on a sailboat singing True Love, and I just went nuts. That was the duet that did it. And, you know, for a little kid who thinks she wants to write songs, it was either the song or it was Grace, who was spectacular, you know, so I was a goner. As the years went by, I kept listening, and I listened to all of the Cole catalog, and, you know, some of them are really meant for the stage, and some of them are beautiful, lusting love songs that belong anywhere. Right about that time, actually, my father, he brought home 3 LPs. He was a music lover. He brought home 3 LPs one night. One was The Weavers live at Carnegie Hall. One was the cast album of My Fair Lady. And the third was Danny Kaye's Mommy, Give Me a Drink of Water, or I Want a Drink of Water. Not sure getting the title right. Anyway, try working that out in your head, those 3 albums. But I was also learning folk music on my guitar, you know, Joan Baez and Bob Dylan and Carter Family, John Hartford. So without getting too far in the weeds there, I feel like the choice now to put the Cole songs in the setting of Americana, it just all the seeds were planted, just like they are for all of us, for the love of music we have, or the way we sing, or the love of certain books. You know, it all happens right at that early age, if we're lucky. And the beauty of the songs, the intensity of his melodies really just killed me, and intoxicated my young heart, I gotta say. I've always said that, and still does. It's been cooking for a long time.
Okay, so we've got folk, Americana versus the jazz, musical theater genres. How did you come to love both?
To be perfectly honest, I never felt totally comfortable in the folk world. Probably explains a lot about my career. But, you know, you're a girl who plays acoustic guitar, and you're either going to play Maid of Constant Sorrow, or you're going to start writing your own songs. Anyway, I was always interested in more complex melodies that I heard from Cole and Richard Rodgers and Lerner and Lowe. And wow, how about Jules Stein and his composing of Distant Melody from Peter Pan? That one just killed me, you know. Once upon a time and long ago. Anyway, I just listened to that again recently, and it's just magnificent. But I also love to pick up my guitar and play, you know, Paxton's The Last Thing on My Mind. So, you know, which way? There's several different purposes. Songs serve different purposes in the world. That's what's so wonderful. And mostly they kept me company alone in my room. Many of us were coming out playing acoustic guitars. Well, the big moment of decision was, like, you know, when James Taylor put out Sweet Baby James. It was like, are you going down that road, or are you going to learn a few more murder ballads? And so there was that choice, that two-headed monster, and then there was the musical theater. I was never going to be on the stage in musical theater, but was I going to write those kinds of songs? I think the legacy there was the melodies, yeah. Complex chords and melodies aren't always embraced in traditional folk music. What I'm loving about this project is that I can arrange these beautiful, complex songs through the sounds of the instruments that you'd find on the back porch, you know? And that to me is like a truly luxurious mix. Yeah.
You know, it's so clear how deep this record is for you. What did you hope for this project?
Well, there's a fair amount of audacity to think that there's yet another way to do Cole Porter, and that folks who love Americana are going to take to it. But I think maybe we've done it, and we've done a job. Let's put it that way. We've done our jobs. Maybe these song gems deserve yet another trip around the sun, and hopefully this time land in the living rooms or the bedrooms of people who've never heard the tunes before. So you bring it to a whole other sector of the population, sort of spreading the gospel of Cole. In terms of the next step, of course, I'd love to take the great players out there and do some concerts. But as far as the next project, well, the pandemic, it's been a devastating time for our world. Let's hope we've all learned some things about ourselves and about how to live with each other and help each other. It's been a fertile time for me as a songwriter. So anytime I had, one of these wonderful players play on the Cole tune, I was like, can you just come over here and play on my tune also? So I think that record's almost done as well. We'll see when I get that one out. So as an artist, you're just gonna keep making stuff. You just make stuff, and because you have to, and you hope that you get the chance to share it and throw it out there in the world, and see if it has some utility for other folks. That's the hope.